Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Charley Boorman, and I'm not quite sure what I do. Anyway, yeah, adventure traveller.
Adventure traveller, and you've got a big adventure that's kicking off tonight. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I'm finally heading out to South Africa to do a TV show called Extreme Frontiers. South Africa. We did one last year called Extreme Frontiers Canada, and the idea came from Ewan and I did a couple of TV shows called Long Way Around and Long Way Down, and we travelled through a lot of different countries, and some of those countries we thought wouldn't it be lovely just to spend a little bit more time and get to know that country and get under the skin of it and find out about the place and the fun things you can do, the history, all sorts of different things. And so this idea came up, and Ewan and I had gone through Canada and loved it, and one of the places that we went through as well was South Africa and Africa. And I've ever since then I've always fallen in love with the continent of Africa and especially South Africa, and so that was the idea, was to come back down, go down and see South Africa, because a lot of the time when you tell people that you're going to South Africa, people often see it as just one big country, the whole continent, and they go, "Ooh, isn't that a dodgy place?" And you go, "Why have you been?" And they go, "No." And so the idea of this is to sort of show people, look, it's not what a lot of people think it is. There's so much more there, and it's not just about the big five animals, the lions and the cheetahs and stuff. It's about the people and all the other stuff that you can do down there. So that's what we're kind of looking forward to. It's going to be a big, epic journey.
And it's a country that's tailor-made for a road trip as well.
Yeah, I mean, South Africa, has the most incredible roads, has the most incredible gravel roads. I mean, some of the gravel roads down there are better than the roads here. And then culturally, and then food and people and landscape. I mean, it really does have a bit of everything. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful place.
And like the garden route, that's the classic. You're going to be covering that, but also you're going to be doing some quirky, offbeat stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to start in South Africa. We're going to head up the garden route, and then we're going to go up to the Wild Coast on the east, and then up north. And the whole idea of the Extreme Frontiers is to go to all the extreme parts of South Africa, and then all the way through the middle, and then up in diamond mines and gold mines, and diving with sharks, paramotoring over African plains. It's just like an endless stuff. Going to visit the Born Free people. We are going to go into some townships. There's a whole raft of different things that we're going to do. And the fun thing about this is that we do some silly, stupid things and some really interesting stuff, but pretty much all of it anybody can do if they want to. All the TV shows that we've done in the past, from Long Way Around to Long Way Down to the Dakar Rally to all sorts of stuff. I mean, anybody can go and join up the Dakar Rally if they want to. I mean, it's okay, admittedly it's a tough race, but anybody can do it. So the idea was always to do stuff that anybody could do if they wanted. And
if you look at your Twitter feed, it's a lot of fans who are writing and saying they've seen your programme and they're off to do one of your journeys. I mean, that's something you're hoping in this as well. It's very much open to the fans. They're going to suggest things to do as well, and the journey's going to evolve. It's not a fixed itinerary.
Yeah, I mean, it is. The great thing about the modern world now is we have Twitter and Facebook, and we're present in all of those extreme frontiers, and we're using that to see if people come up with suggestions. We have an itinerary, but it's got gaps in it, so we can be a bit free and lucid. So and all that part of it is good. You go onto the website and you can there's a tracker there. You can follow us. We'll be posting stuff all the time, every day. There'll be little video clips and photos and comments and all that kind of stuff. So we do live in an age of technology that kind of shrinks the world a little bit, which is great, because one of the biggest growing parts of the travel industry is adventure travel, and people. I don't think people want anymore just to go to the beach and sit there for 10 days. People want to have half of it as excitement, doing some interesting stuff, and then relaxing. So people demand more these days, and we live in a much smaller world, so we can get around much easier.
And you've teamed up with Mantis as well. It's a great collaboration. They're good guys to be involved with.
Yeah, I mean, we've teamed up with Mantis, who are a lovely bunch of guys. They've got some fantastic places you can stay all over South Africa, all over the world, and they're really enthusiastic about the whole thing. So it's lovely to have them on board. We're also working quite closely with South Africa Tourism, and without them we wouldn't be able to visit half the places that we found, and really finding those nice little gems of stories. And we're doing a little bit of work with UNICEF as well, which is always fantastic. And then South African Airways is getting us all down there, because a lot of these trips, and unless you can get down to these places easily, it makes it very difficult to have these trips. So South African Airlines have really come up trumps in getting the bike down there, and all that kind of stuff.
Now, looking at the great explorers as well, like the Shackletons, they all have the same challenges of getting people on board and the right teams in order to mobilise their forces as well. What are the explorers that you look up to, and that have inspired you to go off and become an adventurer?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't put myself in the same lines as Shackleton and all those guys. Those guys did something which was amazing, and a lot of the South Pole explorers, would use South Africa and Cape Town as a launch pad to get to to the South Pole. I have come across, there's a number of people who kind of inspired me. I mean, there's a guy called Ted Simons who wrote a lovely book called Jupiter's Travel. It's all about travelling around the world on motorcycles and stuff like that. And I suppose it sort of came from there, and a lot of it came from my father as well. My father's a film director. He directed films like Deliverance and Excalibur and Hope and Glory and Hell in the Pacific and stuff. And he travelled all over the world in very difficult situations to make movies, and he always brought us kids along because we were free, cheap labour in the movies. And I think from him I got inspired tremendously from him about travel and people. And for me, the travelling and the motorbike part is fantastic fun, and that's what I love. I've ridden motorbikes since I was 7 years old. But one of the things that are really interesting is the whole thing about the people that you meet along the way, and that's what's kind of inspiring, and sharing experiences with other people that they do their everyday lives, and being involved with them is a lot of fun.
Now, your trusted mode of transport is your BMW motorcycle. Apart from that, what's the strangest type of transport you've ever encountered on your travels? Oh,
I mean, obviously, the BMW gets you from A to B, and sometimes getting from one place to another, that the adventure is the journey. But yeah, I mean, over the years I've travelled in some bizarre things. One of the most uncomfortable journeys I've had was on the back of an elephant in Indonesia, and quite hairy and quite uncomfortable. And then it's not like when you're riding horses, they grab a mouthful of grass. The elephants grab half a tree and eat it as they're walking along. It's quite an experience.
Now, South Africa aside, if someone was at home, just a normal person looking for an adventure of a lifetime, anything that you would recommend or say, yeah, you have to do that, something that kind of balances beauty with nothing too extreme?
I mean, I think if you're looking for a little bit of adventure, and you're looking to see a little bit of wildlife and have good food and end up in some beautiful places, and to be looked after incredibly well, then South Africa is really a choice. They really do have a little bit of everything. In August you can go up towards Springbok near the Namibian border into the desert, and if you're lucky, the rains will be right and you can see the desert blooming, and or you go down by the coast and you can surf, you can windsurf, you can kite surf, you can go 2 days later you can be up looking at the Big Five in a game reserve, or in beautiful vineyards, or there's a lot there, and there's a lot more than just animals in South Africa. So it's a good destination, a bit of everything for everybody.
And outside of South Africa, any other countries that really touched you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we went to Mongolia was one of the places that we went to, and that was very difficult to get across. We went across the whole part of it, and it took us a long time. There's very little roads, there's no signposts, it's very difficult to get across. There's nothing there, and that was incredible. And the thing that made it amazing was the generosity of the people that we met along the way.
Was that on the bikes?
Yeah, it was on the bikes, and that was amazing, how generous and how open people were, and they're lovely, lovely people, the Mongolians. And but that is a real adventure. That was.
And any places you look at, nations you think, wow, really love to go there?
Yeah, I mean the great thing about Extreme Frontiers is that you can take it to any country. I mean, and I'd love to go to South America and Mexico. I'd love to cruise around Mexico. There's just
the world is your
the
oyster.
world is your oyster, and you know these days you can get around so easily these days, and it is so accessible, and the world isn't as bad as people think it is. It really isn't. I certainly wouldn't suggest going to a war zone, but I would. You know, you're pretty much 99% of the people around the world are good, nice people who are willing to help. You know, you'll always get someone bad, but then you get that in every country.
Okay, Charley, well, thank you very much.
Cheers.
And good luck with the next 6 weeks, and we'll be following you.
Brilliant.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.